Hi, I'm Dom. I'm a startup guru. I help people go from idea to app. And in this video, I want to explain the importance of doing user interviews or going out and talking to people. To start off with, why do user interviews? So one of the reasons is that you want to be able to validate and find the truthfulness in your persona. That was what I made in my last video, so go check that out. But the qualitative data is just as important as the quantitative data. It's very easy to kind of fall into a place of, well, we'll just go out, get a bunch of data, and then we can kind of pull out insights from there. But you can only really pull insights out of the things that you are measuring. To build good products, you also need to be able to anticipate your user needs before they do. That is, when you understand a pain point or you have a good problem statement, it really encapsulates what that person is trying to achieve way before that they can articulate it themselves. And lastly, you now have a bunch of people that you can reach out to on the release of your product. Number two, what not to do in user interviews. When it comes to user interviews, I have 3 rules. Rule number 1, don't talk about the product. You don't learn anything. What you want to know is who is the person who's in front of the product. Rule number 2 is don't ask for features. I'm going to be that person and say a Steve Jobs quote, but people don't know what they want until it's in their hands. And it is so true. And rule 3 is don't be direct. Asking questions indirectly gets to the real heart of what they're trying to do and what they're trying to achieve. People won't tell you what they want or what their problem is. What they'll say is what they think that you want to hear. So number 3, therefore, how do you do good user interviews? So where I like to start is, what are people trying to achieve or obtain? What are their long-term goals and their short-term goals? What does their workflow look like today? And how do they feel they are in their journey today compared to where they were when they started? These things get to the crux of the end goal and where they're trying to get to. And it tells you also where their barriers are to get there. Another way that I try and understand the people I'm talking to is to try and figure out, where are people poor? Now, you can be literally poor. I want to do X, but I can't afford it. But you can be poor in other ways. So for example, you could be knowledge poor. I want to start a business, but I don't know the things I need to know in order to do it. You could be skills poor. I want to put a shelf on the wall, but I can't use a drill. Doing those things not only helps you define the problem fully, but it also indicates to where quick wins might be and how you're going to market that thing to people. Sometimes people are solving their problems already today. And you can ask the question, okay, well, how are they solving that problem today and to what extent? So if you're trying to solve a problem of how to get someone from point A to point B, they may well be solving that problem by walking, but then they also might be solving that problem by a bus. So how can you add something into a mix where it's more convenient than a bus, quicker than walking? Those things are really good for finding where there are gaps in the market. Taking that information in and being able to have some insights, one really good technique is to summarize what people have said and say it back to them. This means that you can gauge the truthfulness of that statement. One technique I like to use is to actually give them an incorrect summary. So when they correct me back again, they're articulating their problem better the second or third time round. And lastly, on what makes a good interview is, in my previous video, I talked about personas, and what you're trying to achieve is the truthfulness in that persona. How well does this persona reflect the group of people that you're trying to bring on board to your product? To end this video, what are some good questions to ask? So as you go from product to product and go through different groups of people, you will find that questions will change so that they're more appropriate and more valuable to you. But there's a few you can go with that are hugely useful, and I find they always pick out really interesting things. First of all, what's the most boring thing about your workflow? This is an excellent one for any kind of B2B app. What you're going to be able to do is find the quick wins. It's going to be easy for people to articulate what's going on, but it also gives you the real messaging that you need in a value proposition that's going to convert someone over to your product. Another good go-to question is, what advice would you give to a past version of yourself? This is really good because it gets people talking about the journey rather than the sort of immediate wins that they can get. It also helps you figure out what their goals are and what their motivations are. But also it kind of gets out of the details and into the more top level stuff where you can really do the conceptual work. And that is a quick introduction into user interviews. If you've got any other questions, then pop them down into the comments, but I would really appreciate a thumbs up. And my next video is going to be basic scoping, setting a visionary piece, putting in the boundaries of what a solution is going to look like. So please subscribe to check that one out. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.